Hey guys, Haito here. Today we're doing part 4 to What If Asta was the reincarnation of Sasuke Uchiha. So today we're doing chapter 5, the Diamond Mage. So this is a longer than usual chapter to make up for the lateness of this video. So I hope you enjoy, and yeah, let's begin. Asta forced chakra out of his eyes straight into Sasuke. You need to add more chakra and do it quicker, as if you stand there like that in battle you'll be killed in seconds. Sasuke stoically said as he punched Asta across the mindscape. Got it! Asta shouted as he got back up. He'd been practicing for the past 2 weeks when he had fallen to sleep, and he had learned in his mind. He quickly learned genjutsu wasn't his strong suit. Sasuke had emphasized its importance in a world like this, where it was an uncommon ability for this, to be an ability, and its counters are known. On one downside, it would take an extortionate amount of chakra, as Asta had to inject loads of chakra into his opponent's brains to create these illusions, but Sasuke believed it would be worth it in the end. The next day, "Nice, kitty," Asta said, as he wore an apron on top of his usual clothing. He stood in a room with purple lit light and glaring eyes looking at him with the intent to kill. Asta had almost been swallowed whole multiple times, and this time he had a plan. "Here, look at me," Asta said in a cheerful tone. The beast spared him a glance, and at that moment Asta launched a genjutsu. Suddenly the beast lay down. "Ha ha! I see, I outsmarted you," Asta shouted with pride, unseen by many. He then fed the beast. Behind him Noelle stood. She refused to help and just leaned against the wall. They had been forced to do chores together after what had happened. Neither had spoken, and Asta did the brunt of the work. The two were silent. Asta knew what Noelle was like, didn't force himself to talk, and Noelle was a mixture of too scared and too prideful to mutter a word. She just watched the antics, not allowing herself to be amused. They both heard combined giggles coming from two men. They turned to see an almost naked Yomi and Magna. "But how he totally pulled that counter on us was hilarious," Magna laughed. Magna turned to see the two. "Oh hey, you two. How's feeding it going?" he said in a sarcastic tone of voice. "Just fine, and this time he didn't try to eat me," Asta said, smiling in victory. Magna laughed. "I guess the beast has warmed up to you now, hasn't it?" Magna and Yomi walked past, as Noelle's face turned pale, then a shade of red so dark it could be mistaken as purple, as the two half-naked men walked past. Asta didn't pay mind to that fact, as he ran off to the decrepit Black Brawl's library. He used his shining gun to make sure he didn't miss a spot of dust as he raced on. A whirlwind was created behind him the next day. "Asta, Noelle!" Magna shouted at the top of his lungs. "Yes, sir." Asta emerged in a storm of leaves, courtesy of Sasuke. Noelle strolled over at a slow pace. "What?" she said, flicking her hair back. "Time for your first mission," Magna said, trying to conjure a smile from the two. Asta jumped in the air at the prospect of getting to test his skills that he developed. Noelle just looked unimpressed. "We'll be killing balls to repair detonating the captain have," he said, coughing towards the end. The excitement left Asta. "Wait, what? We have to deal with your mess?" Noelle said incredulously. "Hey, it should be an honor to help Captain Yomi," Magna said, clenching his fist in defense of his captain. "No, it isn't, insect," Noelle said, complaining. The two argued over the issue until, "Just do it," Yomi said as his aura leaked out. "Yes, sir," the two squealed. 20 minutes later, the three walked through a thriving forest. "Anyways, Asta and Noelle, go kill that bull," Magnus said casually. "Wait, what bull?" Asta said, turning his head. A massive orange bull with fire spewing from their noses. Oscar smiled. He ran at it and kicked it in the face, sending it back. He elected to use his physical might in an effort to fight the beast. Oscar was gradually taking down hordes and hordes of them, taking injuries along the way. He carried hundreds of bulls on his back as he carried thousands of them, attempting to take them back to the village. Magna froze as he saw a plume of smoke covering the city. "Guys, look, the village is covered in smoke," Magnus shouted. A flash of a man passed through Magnus' mind. Along with crowds of people, he began running, hoping to prevent whatever was going on. Asta Noel, hurry up quickly," Magnus said. Asta easily followed, but Noel was breathing heavily the entire time. They arrived. "How are we going to get through the fog?" Asta said, as he frantically turned to Magna. "You're the one with an anti-magic sword and a pair of freaky eyes. You figure it out," Magnus said, deadpanning at Asta. "Oh, right," Asta said as he chuckled. His grimoire was brought to life with the dark energy surrounding it. He ripped out a gigantic black sword and began swiping the fog. The three gradually made their way through the darkened town, passing empty buildings. Magna hurried at first. He was sweating uncontrollably. His breathing was constantly heavy. A crowd of people flashed through his mind again. Massive shards of oceanic blue shards of diamonds threatened to fall above the people. Kids wailed and shook. The adults trembled, as the words they wanted to say to their kids got stuck in their throat. They shivered in their rags as they stared into their death. In front of them stood a man with an ice-cold glare, white hair, a light blue cloak, and cream-coloured trousers. Stood behind him were three mages with non-visible faces and blue cloaks that completely covered their forms. The mage at the front looked at his golden pocket watch. 5 more seconds and these wild beasts will be put down," he said. He raised his hand and then brought it down. The shards of diamond fell. The people screamed as the lights flashed before their eyes. A hurricane of fire travelled down towards the diamonds. It intercepted the attack on the people. Embers and shards of diamonds flew as the attacks battled for dominance. The fireball won as it burst in the sky. The diamond-using mage looked over. "A horde of savages trying to act like nobles, the Black Bulls," he said, as he examined the 3 new mages' cloaks. "What do you think you're doing?" Ossa shouted. The eyes of the townspeople opened as they didn't feel their deaths right next to them anymore. Some smiled when they realised it was the Magic Knights, especially an old man in the crowd. They cheered as they thought they had a future. "I'm merely wiping out a herd of wild creatures," the man said, as if it was common knowledge. Arthur was taken aback for a moment before his eyes changed with the 2 red tomoes. He stared at the man in front of him. It was this guy. He represented everything he hated. He shook, scared. "How pathetic. You savages, when seeing things stronger than you, tremble in fear," he said, as the page's grimoire began to shift. Arthur shifted through hand signs quicker than the mage chose a spell. "Fireball jutsu!" Arthur shouted as a gigantic fireball rushed at the mage's face. Centimeters away from his face, shields of diamond shielded him. He relaxed. Then he felt a searing pain in his stomach, threatening to slice him in half. It sent him into a wall behind the church. Arthur stood where the mage used to be. He screamed, "Shut up! We're all human! Don't you dare look down on them!" A plume of fog was sent into his face. He was cutting through it when a gigantic block of diamonds slammed into it. He coughed up blood. The diamonds headed straight towards the people. Arthur gritted his teeth and slammed his feet into the ground. His feet tore through the concrete and the rocks flew. Noel watched this confident until this. She was royal. She couldn't die here. She trembled as the attack came. She turned around. She wouldn't die in some backwater village. She felt a tug on her leg. She looked down to see a little crying child. "Please help us," she said, clenching onto Noel's leg. Time stopped for her. She turned her back around. Her grimoire flared to life. She was royalty, and they wouldn't run. Words writ themselves on her grimoire. "Water creation magic! Sea dragon's lair!" she shouted, as a beam of blue light illuminated the land. From it formed an oceanic coloured dome which surrounded the people and her. Everyone was in awe. Asta turned around seeing this. He smiled at her as he pushed himself off the diamond, trusting the girl. It slammed into the barrier. Without the momentum, it couldn't break through. The man looked shocked. There was no way such savages could wield such power. "Hey Magna, I need your help. To take out his lackeys whilst I'll take the main guy out," Asta said, as he willed himself to get back up. "Sure, Asta," Magna said. He looked at the people behind him. It made him tremble with rage. The people who had taught him the most important lessons of his life were reduced to this. He flung 6 fireballs at the mages, making 2 for each. They spewed fog as their movements were masked. Asta twirled around, making the mages visible again. This time, Magna wouldn't miss. The fireballs slammed into all of them, and then into the church. Magna rushed at them. He slammed his bat into them, knocking them all out. "You wasted almost half of an hour of my time. You will pay with your lives," the Diamond Mage said, as hundreds of spikes rushed at Asta. He jumped over them and launched a fireball at him. The Diamond Mage put a shield up. He expected the same plan from before, so he employed spikes forward. It collided with Noel's barrier, but not Asta. Suddenly he felt a gigantic burning pain on his head, as many giant guns slammed into his head. He saw black as Asta slammed his sword into his head. And that is the end of chapter 5. Hope you had fun watching this. This chapter was definitely longer than usual. I haven't actually made the graphics yet, so I'm hoping these graphics are still good. This one definitely took a bit more time than usual, a lot more than I'd have liked. But yeah, anyways, see you guys later. Bye.